Talking a lot of Kings offseason. The prevailing discussion point at Kings exit interviews yesterday, which was attended by our very own James Ham. The prevailing discussion was about Malik Monk, whether he stays, whether he goes. What is the we'll start here. We'll hear from Domantas Sabonis on this as well, but what percentage chance do you give of Monk staying / going? So 50-50, 60-40, that kind of deal.
Yeah. Okay. So,
and how has it evolved, if any, over the year?
Again, well, I mean, I think early in the year, I would say it was like probably 90-10 that he was staying. Just the way he's played this season. Like if you look at his stats from last year, he was really good, but he wasn't great. I think people get a little conflated with who he was last season.
He was great by the standard he had set through his first few seasons.
Yeah, but even that, I would say, like, he wasn't that much different than he was the year before. And actually, he averaged less points per game. So last year, he finished at 13.5 points per game. The year before, he finished at 13.8 with the Lakers. The difference, though, was that he was cast into a different role and he was allowed to create. And so his assist numbers went up. His shooting percentages were down last season, and so were his three-point shooting percentages over the previous year. And even this year, you can say the same thing. Like, as his minutes have gone up and his shooting opportunities have gone up, his field goal percentage has gone down. But I don't think any of that matters. I think no. Basically, what we're talking about is a player who brings something different, like a different flavor to the conversation. So I would have put it at like 90-10 because I don't know that there was a team out there that looked at him and said, "Hey, we're going to give him starting level pay and we're going to jump well above the 17.4 million."
Right.
Yeah. So this hasn't changed. The Kings can only offer 17.4 million.
Right.
That's it. That's all they can offer as a starting salary. And the deal has to be for at least 2 years. And so you can't give him a 1-year deal, get his Larry Bird rights and give him this massive contract. Right. So there are all of these layers built into it. But, I think what Malik did this season was not only prove that he's one of the most dynamic pick and roll players in the NBA, and again, just this like juggernaut of a offensive weapon. But on top of that, I think he proved to some people around the league that he might be a starting point guard.
Sure.
And that's where I think the Kings lose out, because even yesterday, Malik said, "Yeah, everyone knows I want to start."
I think I facilitate while I'm being a six man, but yeah, I definitely want to start. I think I've been saying that I wanted to start, but if it's not fit for the team for me to start, I'll come off the bench and be the best. So I just take my role and run with it.
Man, how big of an impact do you think that has on his decision, though?
I don't know. Like,
if let's say there's a number that he's being offered that he said that how do I word this? Let's say some team is going to offer him 18, which is a tick more than he's getting from the Kings. And he's like, at 18, I think I'm just going to stay in Sac. And they go, well, we're going to give you a chance to start.
Okay, so I think he probably takes that. But it depends on where it's at.
Okay, that's
like,
fair.
So
yeah.
right,
Versus Orlando
if
or whatever.
Philadelphia, who now has a ton of cap space, they have only Maxey on a $6 million cap hold, and Embiid under contract for next season. That's it. So they have
2 players under contract.
So they have this massive amount of money to offer, right?
Oh boy.
But then it becomes like, well, what exactly are you offering Malik? And like, I don't want to. How much is he worth? Is he worth like what you thought Dennis Schroeder was before? Like, because that's the type of player that you look at and you go, okay, is he going to be better than that as a starter? And maybe he is, but I still think that like Malik Monk's natural role should be as a 6-man. I know he wants to start, and look, in Sacramento, maybe you can offer him the starting job. Maybe you say like, look, we'll offer you the starting job. You can start, but you're going to play like the first 4 minutes, and then we're going to pull you. We're going to go to somebody else, and then we're expecting you to open the second quarter like crazy
on
and
your
be that
normal
same guy.
rotation. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, there's nothing that says that the Kings can't start him in next season, and just rework. But that would be almost like detrimental to the team. Like, do
Yeah.
you want to be here and win, or do you want to be here and have some ridiculous title that says that you start and that's all that matters? Because again, you can make an all-star team as a 6-man.
No doubt.
Yeah, you can make all NBA. You can, like, if you're that good, then that's fine. But again, we're talking about a guy who, in a system that had plenty of opportunity to score, in a system where 2 players decided to not score at all this season of your top 5 in Herter and Harrison Barnes, who averaged a combined like 22 points per game.
Yeah.
There was even more potential for Monk to score here and to be part of that. And I think that Monk fit into a perfect role. He's great again in the pick and roll. One of the best pick and roll players in the league. And like his ability to set guys up, his ability to score, like it does matter, and it does, change the dynamic of this team greatly.
Yeah.
So
So
I think back to your original question, I'm going to say as of today, 35% chance he stays. 35. That's where I'm kind of at, 35, 65. And it might even be a little bit lower than that.
So Jesse and I differed on this yesterday, but the way De'Aaron Fox talked about it after Friday's game and the way Malik has kind of talked about it and Sabonis talked about it, it all feels like he has said, if there's a bag out there, I'm going to get it. And the prevailing thought is there's going to be multiple bags out there. And that's I think that's part of why yesterday felt like what you said it felt like.
Oh, yeah.
Like kind of a funeral, but
also,
a
fun, happy funeral.
Yeah. Good vibes, but also the end of something. Here's what Malik Monk said about his emotions going into his free agency.
Yeah, emotions are everywhere, man. Like you said, I came here with one of my best friends, turned the organization around, turned the city around. The city loves me, and I said before, I love the city. So yeah, man, the emotions just everywhere right now, and that's something I got to deal with being an NBA player. So I'll be all right.
And then this is the one that to me you could read either way.
Yeah,
that could sound like, yeah, I've done this, goodbye, but it also is like, I love the city loves me, I'm going to be here. But here's what he said about his approach to free agency, and this is why I started to fall where you are, in the like 35% range that he stays.
That's my agent job. Nah, yeah, man. I'm gonna just take a little time to relax and decompress and not think about it right now. I know my agent is working hard and probably got some options, so that's another reason why I can relax.
Man, my agent's working hard. I've probably got some options, and that's why I can relax.
Yeah.
That to me sounds like there's money out there for him.
Oh, no, I think that there's going to be a lot of money, but it really does come down to, is someone going to offer him 30? Because if someone offers him 30, there's good for you, man. Like, just go.
I would drag him for staying. If he got offered 30 and stay.
No, I would too. Like what are you doing, man? Like, look, so, and I want to like you have to paint a certain picture here, right? Like, the way that the Kings are built is very specifically. You have a gigantic contract in Domantas Sabonis. You have a gigantic contract in De'Aaron Fox. And then Fox is going to have a moment here where his contract goes crazy. Like long before Domantas Sabonis. Domantas Sabonis will play out his entire contract. Like what has he got? Another 5 years at this point. Like they bumped his salary up. They gave him a full extension. Whatever it is, like he's going to be here for forever. And Fox probably will be as well, but Fox is going to have the ability to opt out and get a massive extension. That extension is going to look very similar to what Jaylen Brown got.
Yes.
Which there's going to come a point where he's making close to $70 million a year. So
it's so nuts.
Yeah, it's crazy. So basically, though, what we're saying here is that you have these two, and then on top of that, you have Keegan Murray. We don't know what Keegan Murray is what he's gonna become next season, because then next summer, not this coming summer, but the following summer, that's when you negotiate.
Summer of 25.
Yeah, you negotiate the rookie scale extension for Keegan Murray. So he'll play out his 4th season, so the 26-27 season under his rookie scale deal. But the year after that is when it kicks in that he's going to be making, I don't know, you could go to what De'Aaron Fox made in his first year of a rookie scale, which was $27 million. Now, maybe Keegan doesn't reach that. Maybe Keegan, it like sort of levels out and he's a $20 million player. And you're like, okay, we'll give you a 4-year 80 or a 4-year, a 5-year $100 million deal, whatever it might be.
That wouldn't be great, by the way.
If that's who he is. Yeah.
Well, tough. If he's a $20 million a year player in 3 years.
Yeah. That probably would be a little bit of a tough pill.
Yeah.
Right.
But anyways, not your point. Go on.
No, my point is though that you're going to have Sabonis who goes up to like 46 million and 48 million. Then you got Fox who's going to be at like 55 million. And that's a ton of money. And then you're going to have Keegan who's going to be owed as well. So the only way that they can give Monk more than what they can offer him today is they can offer him the 17.4 million with an 8% raise, which is like, I don't know, 18.6, whatever. So a 2-year, like $36 million deal. And then after that, they can extend him. They can offer him a 4-year, $78.4 million deal, whatever it is, but with a 2nd-year opt-out. The way the early bird works is you can only do a minimum of 2 years. You can't do a one and done. You can't do a 1-year deal as you can with other contracts, but the early bird very specifically, it's to avoid someone just getting their Larry Bird rights in a different way.
Yeah.
So then once you got to year 4 of Monk in Sacramento, you can give him a massive extension. You can even negotiate that the following summer. Like, hey, you can go into a deal and crack it open and basically give him the money on the backside. But you can't do anything today other than the 2-year, like 36 or 4-year, 78.4 million. Yeah. In a perfect world.
So the Kings are handcuffed a little bit.
No, they're totally handcuffed, and it's realistically because number one, they shaved that $1.6 million off, which we talked about. But on top of that, it's because they didn't give him a 3-year deal, or he didn't take a 3-year deal. So that's where this really came down to. If when they gave him the mid-level exception, that could have been for up to 4 years, but they gave him a 2-year deal. They didn't even get a 3rd-year option. If they would have done a 3rd-year option, then they could have worked with him on the back end of the deal to make a whole lot more money. And that's sort of, it's a mistake, but at the same time, we're talking about a guy who had really like fumbled around for 4 years and not really done anything. And then he plays well with the Lakers, but again, like he played well with LeBron and like a really star-studded cast. And you didn't know who he would be with you.
I was pretty out on the Monk signing when the Kings made it. Just in terms of being an impact player, it's like, okay, great, you got a bench guy.
Yeah, I think a lot of people thought, okay, we've seen guys come into Sacramento who average 13.8 points for another team, and they get to Sacramento and they average 7.
Right.
So
yeah, it was more a question of what is this guy as a player? He's not really done anything. I didn't buy into get him with De'Aaron Fox and he's gonna be really good again. And then sure enough. Look at that. He hadn't refined who he was in the league at that point. Now, I think that's the deal. Like the Kings have helped him refine who he is. And now he's going out into the real world and he's going to get all kind of money thrown at him. I'd also add in, like, there's going to be the tax situation, which is something that I've always felt like the NBA should deal with. The like income tax or luxury tax?
No, the income tax situation.
Like, okay.
So if he gets offered, like again, an $18 million contract, basically like 17.4, whatever, but like $18 million in Sacramento, and the Orlando Magic offer him the same 18 million, there's no personal income tax, state income tax. So you're still paying federal, and he's going to max out on federal, whatever, 26 or 28%, whatever, it might be 30%. I'm not sure what his tax bracket would be.
Tax Talk on ESPN 1320.
Exactly. But in the state of California, there's also a personal 9-point-something% like state income tax. Right. Well, that's like basically 10%. So if you're making, 18 million in California minus federal and state tax, you're really making like 9 or 10 million. If you're making that in Orlando, now we're talking about 12 or 13 million.
Right, because there's no state income tax in Orlando.
Yeah, exactly. And so that would change in Florida. That would change sort of a dynamic as well, where he's able to get a whole lot more money. And then if Orlando goes up,
Mhm.
and goes up to 25, or they go up to 27, now you're looking at like, okay, that's
a
a
significant amount.
lot of
Mhm.
money. That's a lot.